So now it's time to finish the code for the Catch the Hacker game. So here we are back in our main.js file for the Catch the Hacker game. If you recall, we left off with setup map, simply creating a basic OpenStreetMap layer, adding a view, and creating the map object. So at this point we have no hacker in our game. So we need to create the vector layer and the feature so that the hacker is visible. So we'll begin by creating a coordinates variable with the coordinates for the hacker. There we go. And I went ahead and did the transformation from the lat long to our EPSG 3857 projection all in line. So now that we have our coordinates, we can go ahead and create our feature. So here's our feature. We're setting the geometry option to a new instance of ol.geom.point, and we're passing in those hacker coords. Now if we use this feature as is, we'll get that small blue circle that we saw in the previous lesson. But what we want is our hacker icon. So in order to fix that, we're going to have to create a style. So here's our style. This is similar to the one we did in the last lesson, except here for our image, we're using ol.style.icon, whereas in the last lesson, we used ol.style.regularShape. The difference here is that ol.style.icon takes a source, which is a PNG. So it'll load that PNG in, and that will be displayed on the map for the feature. However, nothing's going to be displayed on the map if we don't first assign this style to the feature. So let's do that now. Now all that remains is to create our vector source and a vector layer. There's our source, and there's our layer. So now we should have everything in place to be able to see the hacker. So let's give it a try. So here's our game. We'll click Start, and we'll go ahead and zoom in, and we should see a hacker. There's Tower Hill. Well, we're zoomed in, still no hacker. So let's go back and see what the problem is. If you're on the ball, you probably noticed that I created the vector layer, but I never assigned it to the map. So I'm going to scroll down here, and here in our layers, we need to add the vector layer. We're going to refresh, and there we go. So there's a bit of a problem here. The hacker is fairly obvious. It wouldn't be much of a game if you knew where the hacker was before you even hit start. So we need some way to make sure that the hacker doesn't appear until you're zoomed in to a specific level. Fortunately, that's as easy as adding an extra option to the vector layer. We're going to come in here and add max resolution 4. What we're doing here is telling OpenLayers to not display this layer unless the resolution is below the maximum value of 4. Recall that the resolution is related to the zoom. Resolution, in the case of an EPSG 3857 map, is simply the number of meters per pixel. So a max resolution of 4 is telling OpenLayers, do not show this layer unless the resolution is less than 4 meters per pixel. That's pretty far zoomed in. So we're refreshed, and the hacker is no longer showing up. We'll click Start to start the timer. We'll zoom into the area that we know the hacker is at. A little further, there's Tower Hill, and there we go. Now clicking on the hacker does nothing because we haven't added the click handler to the map. So let's go back and take care of that. So we're going to come down here after where the map is declared. And we're going to add the click handler in much the same way we did in the last lesson. So here's our click handler. Again, this click handler is set for the entire map, not any specific feature. Just like last time, we're using the map.forEachFeatureAtPixel function. However, in the last lesson, all we did was pop up an alert, whereas this time we're checking for the presence of feature, and if feature is not null, we're calling the catchHacker function. The reason for checking if feature is null is that the map's click handler will fire no matter where you click on the map. However, we only want the catchHacker function to be called if you actually click on a feature. Since there is only one feature, we know that if you click on a feature, it must be the hacker, and therefore the game is over. If you click anywhere else on the map and there is no feature, we know that you have not clicked on the hacker, and so the game continues. So now we should finally be ready to have a fully successful test. So we click Start, there goes the timer. We zoom in to the Tower of London. There it is. There's the hacker. We click and we caught the hacker. Congratulations.